You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Adam Silver. And we're going to talk about some fans that are very close and or have decided they've had enough. That watching Caitlin Clark crash out on such an epic level the other night was their final straw. And I'm talking about, I saw some fans yesterday that were like, I watched her play in high school, and I cannot stomach this any longer. And they understand why she crashed out, but they don't want to watch her crash out. And look, it's understandable. I get that. I do get it. So Caitlin Clark fans have started attacking those fans. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? People don't want to see athletes crash out. Like, they don't. I understand why she did it, but a lot of people will not watch that. They won't. My father would never, he would turn the TV off and walk off. I'm not watching that shit. I'm not doing it. You know? So, but that is all the problem. The fact that it's reached this level where somebody with as much class as Caitlin Clark has, she has lost her mind on the court. And who's responsible for that? The WNBA is responsible for that. These hateful-ass players is responsible for that. I don't care what anybody says. You will never convince me her and Stephanie White actually get along. You cannot convince me of that. This is all about dropping the ball from the WNBA, dropping the ball from the Indiana Fever. I mean, their engagement on social media posts, I swear to God, they're a fifth of what they were in 2024. And it's also the byproduct of, imagine being Caitlin Clark and hearing my own commissioner was not even going to suspend Alyssa Thomas. My own commissioner, who I have not even seen, has not come to one of our games. Remember, Kathy Engelbert has never been to an Indiana Fever game. This league, the people that run it, do not have my back, even though they are making money hand over fist, over foot, off of my back. Adam Silver has made a statement about Caitlin Clark. You can tell Adam Silver's very much a fan. I don't know that he fully understands what is going on here, though. Because I do think, in part, a lot of this has got to do with officiating. If they would come down and hammer these players and truly suspend these players when they get out of pocket, a lot of this would go away because players would be like, shit, I can't lose 10 games. Especially now that they're actually making a little scratch. Or, oh shit, I'm going to lose 10 games and get a $100,000 fine if I act like an idiot. They're not going to act like an idiot nearly as much. Because there's real repercussions. ESPN, conversations about the WNBA officiating and Caitlin Clark have now expanded to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Silver said Thursday that Clark has become, quote, a political football, amid debates about officiating and physical play in the WNBA, spurred by a recent play involving Indiana Fever star guard and Alyssa Thomas. Quote, ultimately, the issues around Caitlin Clark are largely about not largely about officiating. And that particular incident is not about whether a foul should have been called at the time of the game or whether that was ultimately a flagrant on review. Well, the fact that is not caught and handled in real time, or at least looked at and then handled in real time, that's a failure. That is a failure. Let's not get confused. Silver made the remarks during an on-stage conversation with Andrew Ross Sorkin at the Game Plan Summit by CNBC in the boardroom. Quote, and I have come to know Caitlin really well, Silver said. She's an incredible player and an incredible person. I will give him credit for one thing. He has praised her many times. Kathy Engelbert, not much of anything. Not much of anything. And she wants to focus on being the best player she can. She's become a bit of a political football in this country, and I think it's incredibly unfair to her. I don't think the issue is ultimately about officiating. She's become political ping pong with her. She's a young woman who is trying to improve her game. Since she entered the league, Clark has helped significantly increase the WNBA ticket sales and television ratings. But many conversations around her have centered on polarizing topics, including race, officiating, politics. Quote, I don't think it's even fair to her that this has become a separate storyline about one foul, Silver said. Do we need to improve WNBA officiating? No doubt about it. Well, at least he knows it needs to improve, but he needs to make sure he recognizes these players are coming after Caitlin for reasons that have nothing to do with her on the court play. It has to do with her popularity and her reach, and they're jealous. They're envious. Why didn't fans show up for me? Well, people are going to want to consume whoever they want to consume. That's just a fact. All right? That's just a fact. Something about Caitlin Clark resonated that didn't resonate with these other players. Becoming a ultra phenom superstar in college is a massive reason why. And that fandom actually did follow straight into the league. And if they're not careful, it's going to follow straight out of the league. Evelyn DR, who is probably the most passionate fan. I've talked to Evelyn quite a few times on social media. She is a passionate fan. And she's the one that created a lot of this Fire Stephanie White, these logos and posters and all that you see on Indiana Fever Post. Evelyn came up with because she's fed up with the product and how Caitlin Clark's been treated. Well, she dropped this out here today. I'm one of the fans who flew to Indiana with my family and attended the All-Star game. I bought multiple jerseys, traveled to watch the Fever on the road. I spent thousands supporting this team because I genuinely believed in what they were building. Never in a million years did I think I'd go from being one of the organization's biggest supporters to being this deeply disappointed in the way it's being run. From my perspective, the coaching staff and front office have stripped away everything that made Caitlin Clark and this Fever team must-watch basketball, turning what should have been the most exciting era in franchise history into one of the most frustrating. There is no joy in watching this team. I'm being real. When Caitlin Clark plays, I watch because it's my job to cover Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. That is part of black and white sports. To cover the WNBA, but more specifically, that team and her is a major focus. The games, even when they win, unless Caitlin Clark does one of these, I'm taking over, and she goes out and drops a 28, 12, and 6, these games are largely slogfest. They're brutal. And then you watch everything else that has happened on top of it. It's become a terrible product. In 2024, even when the Fever lost, they were still fun to watch because you could see the chemistry, pace, and the court vision. They were a blast. 2024 Indiana Fever basketball was one of the best stretches of professional sports I've ever seen. I cannot tell you how many times I leaped up off my couch like screaming, cheering, holy shit, wow, what? It's been a while since I've covered. When you start covering sports for a living, a lot of things become numbing. I was ate up, caught up. Even at times at the beginning of last year, there were a couple of games where I was like, "Oh, this is still fun." But Stephanie White had not transformed this team into an unwatchable, boring, oozing pus bucket of a corrupted situation. And I mean corrupted as in infected. This team is not fun, and that is a major, major problem. Because we've all seen a fun Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever team. Unfortunately for Stephanie White in the front office, we witnessed a fun team to watch, a team that was a blast. This team, as a consumer, is awful to watch on television and to experience. That's a major problem. As much as I love and support the players, especially Caitlin, I'm honestly not sure how much longer I can keep watching. Thousands of loyal fans have been voicing these same concerns, yet it oftentimes feels like this organization simply doesn't care. The saddest part is that it didn't have to be this way. And she tagged everybody. Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark. She tagged Sophie, Amber Cox, Stephanie White, Lynn Dunn. Perfectly said. And you speak for me as well. IDX Texas, the same, Evelyn. 15 total home games on 2024 and 2025. I haven't spent a dime in 2026. Wow. I canceled the apps, except Prime and YouTube TV. I'm so done with these people. And he probably kept those because he was like me and had them anyway. CDS Sports, amen. Exactly true. He said Steve Pena, I was going to drive 4.5 hours to see the Fever in the Dream. I decided against it due to Methany White's system. Carnivore, Evelyn, terrific read. You're so spot on. Well said. It's a no-brainer. They're liars and they're stealing your hard-earned money. You're 100% correct, Evelyn. We canceled our 2-day trip in July. I've been out on this coaching staff and the front office for a while. This person said I left and went to the Fire. By the way, that Portland Fire team, I don't know if anybody remembers that game. They destroyed the Fever, but during the game, in Ben Daniels' watch party chat, I said in the chat, I was like, Jesus, this Portland Fire team is so much fun to watch. I was like, wow, this team's fun to watch. They were playing hard and they were playing fast, and the Fever couldn't keep up with them. They got run out of the building. It's disastrous. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. We think Caitlin Clark plays tonight and will sit out tomorrow. If you are CBS Sports, CBS, you handed all this money over in a media rights deal, I would be thinking, you better set Caitlin Clark tonight and play her tomorrow during our nationally televised game that we paid for. Instead, you're going to set Aaliyah Boston tonight and give us Aaliyah Boston tomorrow. Nobody's what. That's going to automatically, we've already seen it twice on nationally televised games. If Caitlin Clark doesn't play, 1 million people turn the TV off. 1 million people turn the TV off on a nationally televised game if Caitlin Clark doesn't play. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.